Rumi, Mira, and Zoe are K-pop stars, and because of that, they need to carb load. So I'm gonna be making all of the food that they had eaten in that opening scene because it's a lot of food and I really wanna eat it. So without any more rambling, let's get started.
The first thing I'm gonna work on is some kimbap by washing. What are you doing to the rice, dude? Just wash the rice like a normal person. After I wash the rice, I absolutely slam the bowl down into the rice cooker, hopefully not breaking the bowl, and then adding in enough water to make sure that the rice cooks properly, but you can also do the knuckle test if you really want to.
Now, because I'm making multiple recipes, I do have to bounce around just a little bit. So the next thing I'm working on is actually the dough for this recipe, the hoteok, and I really hope I pronounced that correctly.
Now, I've never actually made hoteok before, but it seems like a pretty simple straight dough that you can make in about 30 or 40 minutes. To my 3/4 cups of water, I'm adding in 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 tablespoon of oil, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and then just mix everything together, and then finally add in 1 tablespoon of yeast. After I mix everything together and the yeast is all incorporated and playing nice with everything, I make a mess by adding in around 1.5 cups of flour directly to the bowl. Now, the whisk doesn't actually work that well after a while, so you can pick your poison with this, but I choose the poison of my hands, and I use my hands now to start mixing the dough just until it comes together enough to where I can pull it out of the bowl and start kneading it on the cutting board. You can also use a mixer for this if you have one, but I'm just doing this by hand because it's just such a small amount of dough that a mixer really isn't that necessary. I knead this by hand on the cutting board for around 3 or 4 minutes just until it's nice and smooth and I can make a nice taut ball. I take this taut ball, toss it into the air for no reason, then grease up a bowl and add that ball to that and then cover it, making sure I do let this rest for about 1 hour before I work with it.
Now, the next thing I want to work on is the fish ball or fish cake soup. I've never made this version of the soup before because it is a Korean version versus a Japanese style oden, which are very similar in a lot of ways, but they have some nuanced differences. Let me explain.
Now, these soups kind of start off the same. I'm taking about 4 cups of water and adding a giant thing of kelp into it. But instead of bonito flakes, I'm actually adding in a bit of anchovy instead. This is granulated anchovy that I found at my local Korean market. And to this, I'm adding in about 1 tablespoon of rice vinegar, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, and then I'm taking Korean radish. This is very important, Korean radish. I'm peeling back the Korean radish to make sure I don't have any of the peel going into this, cutting it into 2 big chunks and adding it directly to my soup. After about 3 or 4 minutes, I do have to remove this seaweed so it doesn't get too weird. After I pull out the kelp, I'm making sure that I taste this soup, so this way I can add additional soy sauce or vinegar. My soup tasted pretty great, so I'm gonna let this simmer for about 30 or 40 minutes while I work on the main component, the fish balls. I purchased this pack of fish balls from my local market because they were incredibly cheap and they taste really delicious, but all I'm really doing with them is skewering them on some toothpicks, which is going to be pointless later, but I'll talk about that when we get there. I'm also adding in some gyoza to this because I thought it would be really good, but something has really been bugging me.
I literally cannot get the song out of my head. This is what it sounds like. That song is just so good.
Now, after skewering these gyoza, I'm moving on to some fried fish cakes. I also purchased these from H Mart, and they're just basically fried fish cake. That's what it is. There's nothing crazy about it. After skewing all of these together, I have my fish cake dumplings ready to go right into my soup. The great part about this soup is you literally just put everything in and you kind of just walk away.
This is gonna be so good. This is gonna be so good. All right, let's reset and start working on kimbap. Kimbap, bop, ba boo ba. Now, with the fish soup working, the rice is going, and the dough fermenting, I have to actually make the fillings for the kimbap. And let me let you in on a little secret. I love kimbap. I actually think I like it more than most sushi maki rolls, mostly because this feels super customizable and you can kind of fit it into your macros really easily and use different meats and fillings, and it's just super fun. If you've never had kimbap, try it.
Now, I'm choosing a few particular ingredients to fill my kimbap with. Most of them are fairly traditional, but I'm taking a few creative liberties that I'm going to show you later on. The first thing that I'm doing is slicing up some carrots into matchsticks or juliennes, doing the same thing with bell peppers and this very large cucumber because no one needs that much cucumber, and then also using a bit of pickled daikon. This is going to add a nice acidity and some sweetness to the kimbap. I'm also adding in 4 whole eggs that I'm going to fry up into kind of a pseudo omelet. This will make sense in a few seconds once I show you how to make this. You scramble the 4 eggs together, grease up a nice pan, then add the eggs directly to it and season them with just a bit of salt. Make sure that the egg is fairly spread out, and then this is where it gets a little dicey, but you just gotta practice and nail it every single time. After the egg has cooked on both sides and it's all the way set, take the egg, flip it over onto a plate just so it cools down a little bit, and then I'm gonna cut that later. Now, I do have to cook each of my ingredients that are going into my kimbap, but I'm not cooking them for very long. You only need to cook these for around 10 to 15 seconds. Just make sure you season each ingredient with a bit of salt salt, and cool them down.
The last filling I have to make is all of this beef. Now, I'm doing something a little non-traditional because remember, like I had mentioned with kimbap, I feel like you can add a few ingredients that are things that you want versus what's in the recipe. And this is something that I really want to try in this kimbap. And that comes thanks to Cooking with Chaos, my brand new infinite recipe card system. Over the last 3 years, I've created something that'll get you super excited to start cooking. Cooking with Chaos is a collection of 60 different recipe cards. You have 20 different sides, which are green, 20 different proteins, which are red, and 20 different sauces, which are blue. Now, the goal of this is for you to mix and match different sauces, sides, and proteins to make infinite combinations of meals. Don't take my word for it. Check out what people in the community have already made with their favorite combinations. But let's say you don't want to do a combination that day and you just want something special. Well, that's what I'm doing by taking this gochujang sauce, which is one of my favorites in the collection, and I'm gonna be using it for this kimbap recipe we're making today. But let's say you wanna get a little frisky and you want something completely different and savory and maybe a little sweet. You can try the peanut sauce card with this beef instead and do like a beefy peanut saute in your kimbap, you know, just go for it. I've tried to pack as much information into these as possible. On the front of every card, you have all of the ingredients listed, and on the back, you have a full recipe on how to make it. I've also included macronutrients for those of you who want to pay attention to what you're eating that day, or if you're trying to meal prep, which is one of my favorite ways of using these cards. But let's say you don't even want to pick food that day. You don't want to go through the cards. That's fine. We all get decision fatigue, right? Well, I've included a dice mechanic. In the corner of every single card, there is a number associated with that card. And what that means is you roll a 20-sided dice and you make whatever the dice tells you. So you don't even have to pick that day. Just let fate decide. If you want to join the Chaos community, head over to cookingwithchaos.gg or use the QR code on screen to make sure you snag a first edition copy of Cooking with Chaos today. When you purchase the first edition, you're also going to get 3 free expansion pack cards included with your purchase. My goal when I started YouTube was to get people excited to cook and to teach them how to cook in unconventional and super fun ways that are fit to them. Cooking with Chaos is exactly that. So make sure you head over to cookingwithchaos.gg and purchase at the link down below to support the channel directly and so you can have some fun in the kitchen.
Now the gochujang sauce is very simple. I'm adding in just a touch of hot water followed by some brown sugar, a little bit of ketchup, and then about 1 tablespoon of gochujang, but you can add a bit more if you want. I'm adding in 1 clove of crushed garlic and then whisking everything together and adding in just a touch of sesame oil at the end. The beef that I'm using is sukiyaki style beef, so it's super thin, and of course when I open the bag, Gandalf shows up. I'm making sure that this is fully coated in that little marinade sauce that I had made and then adding it to a very hot pan to start sauteing it. Just make sure if you're searing it off this way that you don't overcrowd the pan because you're going to more or less steam the meat versus actually searing it off. Sear it off in batches and then just start going to town on the meat. Dude, what are you doing? Why are you eating this? You need this for the kimbap. Finish searing everything off so it looks something like this. And then just keep eating everything you just made. You're just eating this like noodles? What are you doing? Now I do have to also cut the egg so this way it's nice and thin, similar to how I cut the other vegetables. And now my kimbap is actually ready to make. You're going to need a sushi mat covered in plastic just to make it easy, and then grab yourself some of the nice rice that we had made, cooled down to kind of room temperature. Mine was a little bit too warm, not gonna lie. And then start forming these like you would a sushi roll.
Buddy, you can't have this. Okay, here, hold on. You can have a little bit of egg. Come on. God.
Now that Gandalf has had his little egg snack, I can continue to stack this kimbap. I start off with the egg, followed by the beef, and then all of my vegetables right on top, absolutely loading this giant kimbap. Now I have to carefully roll this together so this way it doesn't split and it does seal at the same time. And I think I made this way too big.
It's pretty big. Not gonna lie, it's pretty big. I didn't know how she just one-shotted this thing. Rumi just went, you know, stuff you can't do on YouTube. Oh, that's pretty. Oh, look at this big boy. That is a ginormous kimbap. It's like the size of my cat. Exactly how I want it. Kimbap, bop, bop, kimbap.
I apologize for letting my age show, but I had to start singing that. I went ahead and started making the rest of these and they came out pretty great.
I'm so happy with myself. I haven't rolled in so long and these are coming out pretty freaking great. It's so big. Not yet. Mega kimbap. We're gonna weigh this. Hold on. We have to zero out the scale. Then we put this one on. This is 2 pounds and 11 ounces of kimbap.
Now that the kimbap is done, I'm gonna let them hang out at room temperature until I'm ready to eat them, so this way I can work on the hoteok. I think it's funny that when I'm working on any meat products, Gandalf shows up, but as soon as I start rolling any bread, my wife shows up.
There's a troll in the dungeon!
If you're watching this video, I'm still alive. I'm cutting this dough into 4 equal-ish portions, but because I have to know, I did measure them out evenly. Now I'm flattening these out just a little bit so they're like flat. How else do you want me to describe flat? And then I'm opening up the bag of cheese, which does summon Gandalf so he can get his cheese tax, and I'm filling this with a bunch of mozzarella. Normally these are served with some walnuts and some brown sugar, but I chose the savory route here.
No, Gandalf, you have to get down.
This is just what I have to do. I have to work around Gandalf. He's like that head chef that's just always over your shoulder.
Gandalf, you can't have this, buddy.
But at least he just wants to inspect.
No more cheese for you, dude. Okay, one more piece of cheese. I know I'm a pushover, but you have to, come on, down. Get down. You're being a menace. There you go, menace. He literally runs the show.
I'm an absolute pushover, I admit it. Now, each of these hoteoks are going to get a significant amount of cheese, and then once I stuff them and seal them, I'm pressing them down further, so this way they're nice and flat again. There is a big reason for this. You don't want them to be too big because we are pan frying them. In a nice medium-sized saute pan, I'm adding in a good amount of oil until it's nice and hot, and then adding in 2 pieces of hoteok to not overcrowd the pan. Now, admittedly, my oil was a little bit too hot, and they didn't burn, but they got a little more golden brown before they were fully cooked. So I really did have to baby this process, so this way the dough wouldn't cook before the inside was burned. I kept turning them until they were nice golden brown, and then removed them from the pan and put them onto a sheet tray to chill out for a little bit. Now for the second batch, I did turn the oil down and just carefully flip them time to time, getting a nice lighter golden brown color until these last 2 were ready to cook, and you could see the color difference in the 2.
Now with my taeok done and the kimbap done and the soup is done and I have some sides I have to plate up, it's time to just put out the feast. Actually, it hasn't been too bad. I think I've been cooking for about an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe.
Look, this airplane feast is so big, I had to get 2 cutting boards out for this. The first thing I want to do is plate up the kimbap, because this one can hang out for a little bit longer while I'm plating everything else. Realistically, you just want to make these slices as even as possible.
Hey man, that's beautiful. I don't know, that's beautiful. I'm gonna go ahead and pat my own back on that one. I can't really reach, my shoulder hurts.
Now I'm not actually slicing all 3 kimbaps because I need one to be completely whole for something that I'm probably going to regret doing later on in the video. But these kimbap are ready to go and they look beautiful. The hoteok are they're just going on this thing, that's about it. Now the soup is also just going into a bowl, and I decided to plate up the majority of the soup here, but it's a significant amount of fish cake, so you don't have to plate up all of this. Next, I'm plating up some banchan, and yes, I absolutely purchased these banchans from HBart because I think they're worth buying. Next, I'm putting down a bowl of rice out of principle, and then plating up these shrimp strips because Zoe is best girl, Zoe supremacy. The next is some choco pies. These are really important, but I'll explain why later. And finally, I have my K-pop ramyun, or instant ramen.
This is why it's 120 calories, mung bean noodles.
Okay, look, maybe I didn't buy the right noodle, but it was a K-pop brand, so I figured why not.
And there it is, my friends, an entire feast from, I almost said KDA. And there it is, guys, an entire feast from K-pop Demon Hunters. This movie was super fun. I think I'm gonna watch it again, probably tonight. Yeah, I've been listening to the music way too much at the gym, so I'm pretty hyped up for it. I have my kimbap, which I'm super excited about. Look at how monstrous these are. They're just, I really like the way they came out, okay? What do you want from me? The hoteok look pretty nice and golden delicious. Some of them are a little more brown than the other ones, but I think they're still gonna be fantastic. The soup itself looks so heartwarming. I can't wait to dive into this, especially because it smells divine. The daikon adds so much to it, especially as it sits longer. These banchan I just picked up from my local H-Mart. They're fantastic, I've had them before. These shrimp chips though, these are new to me. And since these are best girls Zoe's favorite snack, I had to add these. She is best girl. Let's just get that out of the way. You can argue amongst yourselves in the comments, but you're probably wrong unless you say it's Zoe. Then I have the K-pop mung bean. It's only 120 calories. I think maybe it's K-pop because it's less calories, so maybe it's a diet food, I don't know. And then these are a little bit different. The reason why I picked up choco pie is because I went down the rabbit hole, a very deep rabbit hole of K-pop Demon Hunters, and I found an interview with Rumi, Mira, and Zoe, the 3 voice actors. And they said one of their favorite things were choco pies growing up, so I figured I'd add those too. Now, I'm gonna stop talking and I'm gonna start eating, starting with kimbap. Oh, this looks so good. I'm so excited. Cheers. The beef goes so nicely in this. The beef made with gochujang sauce from Cooking with Chaos at cookingwithchaos.gg, link in the description and with the QR code on screen. This is the wrong way to eat this. No. No. Don't look at me. Oh, I almost choked. That's good though. I'd eat it like a burrito. That's fantastic. Now I'm really hoping with the hoteok we get a nice cheese pull. Let's see if we get it. It has been sitting for a little bit. No cheese pull. The cheese kind of just disappeared into the bread. I thought I put so much cheese, but it could be because these are now a little bit like room temp. I'm just taking so many photos. Really hope this thumbnail worked, but I'm still gonna dive in. This still smells really nice and it looks like it has a great texture, so cheers. It's still fantastic. I do think if I weren't working on all of this at the same time, it's better to eat these right off of the griddle, so that way you get the nice cheesiness to it. But I still eat that all day. I'm a simple person, I don't care. Have a little bit of banchan to change up the flavor profile. Oh my God, everything's so good. But now I wanna jump into this soup. I've never made this soup before, so I hope I did it justice, and it smells phenomenal, so I'm just gonna dive in. Cheers. Oh, the daikon broth. Oh, I love that broth. I didn't know how I was going to enjoy the anchovy versus like a bonito, but it's still so subtle. There's not a ton of fishiness to it. The daikon actually has a ton of flavor, but I'm gonna try these fish cakes. I don't think I've had this style of fish cake, the fried fish cake before. I've had the ball before, but not this. Cheers. That's super good. This tastes like Japanese oden. I would pick this up anytime I found it available, especially at 7-Eleven in Japan. Dude, this food is so good. The dumpling is a little, it's having some problems. I don't know how the girls said that this is their snacks. They specifically said this is their snack time. Now they always finish their meal with ramyun, which is a Korean style instant ramen. And in this case, I did get the K-pop branded, not actually ramen noodles. I mean, I do like mung bean though. It reminds me of japchae. Admittedly, it looks pretty good, especially for being 120 calories. So let's just see what this is about. It's so hot. It's fine, but I'd rather have all of this. Oh man, this is gonna take me 2 hours to eat. If you like this video and you want to see more, consider supporting the channel by picking up a copy of Cooking with Chaos over at cookingwithchaos.gg or the QR code on screen. Not only will you help support the content that you love, but you're gonna get something really cool that I think you're going to really enjoy. The second way is with my Patreon community. If you want to join that, I'm gonna leave a link down below, and you can join our private Discord where we talk about food, anime, video games, and just nerd out about a bunch of stuff. My name is Chef PK, and remember, keep playing with your food.